Today we are going to talk about multiplication with scientific notation. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a few problems and then you can work on your own. So I would write down this problem: 2 times 10 to the third power times 4 times 10 to the fifth power. And when we are multiplying with scientific notation, I like to split it up. So I like to do my 2 times my 4, and then my 10s I like to multiply. So I split it up into two separate problems: my 2 times 4, my 10 to the third times 10 to the fifth. Okay, well, 2 times 4 we know is 8. And then we just did a bunch of these problems where if we have the same base, if you remember, we add those exponents. So I keep a base of 10, and then I add my 3 and my 5 together to get that exponent of 8. Okay, then we just combine these two that we just came up with. We got an 8, we got 10 to the 8th power, so 10 times, or 8 times 10 to the 8th power. Now we have to double check to make sure it's in scientific notation. Okay, and since the 8, since this number is less than 10 but greater than 1, okay, we know that 8 times 10 to the 8th is in scientific notation, so we don't have to do anything more. That's our final answer. Let's do another one. Make sure you have a couple of these problems down in your notes so that you can look back on them later. So if you need to, take a minute to pause the video so you can write them down. Okay, so again, I like to separate my problems and do my numbers, and then I like to do my exponents separately. So I have 8 times 9, I know that's 72. And then I have 10 to the third times 10 to the second, same base of 10. So I'm going to add those exponents, 3 plus 2, to get my 5. Okay, and then we just combine them. Okay, we have 72 times 10 to the fifth power. This is not our final answer, because what I said in the first one, we have to double check that this number is greater than 1 but less than 10. Okay, so that means we're going to have to move our decimal point over 1. Okay, and we've done this many times before. So now I have 7.2 times 10. Well, I can't just move my decimal to move the decimal. I also have to change my exponent. Okay, since I moved it over to the left one time, I'm going to add 1 to it. Okay, so 5 plus 1, my answer ends up being 6. Now you can always double check these in your calculator, okay, but sometimes you'll end up with that E in there. Okay, so just make sure you know how to read that if you're going to do that. Okay, let's do another. We're going to have 9 times 10 to the negative third power times 5 times 10 to the positive sixth power. Now this one's a little different because we have a negative in there. Okay, not much different, but it's just kind of weird that we have a negative going on. Okay, I'm going to do the same way. I'm going to do my 9 times 5. 9 times 5, I know is 45. And then I'm going to do my 10 to the negative third times 10 to the sixth. Okay, we still have the same base. Okay, we have a 10 and a 10. Okay, so we're still going to add those exponents, negative 3 plus 6. Okay, we did this at the beginning of the year, adding and subtracting integers. Negative 3 plus 6, we get a positive 3 for our answer. Okay, and then we're just going to combine our 45 times 10 to that third power. Are we done? Is that in scientific notation? No, because 45 is not greater than 1 and not less than 10. So we're going to have to move our decimal point over 1 so we have a number between 1 and 10. So 4.5, since we moved our decimal to the left, we have to add 1 to that exponent. So our final answer, 4.5 times 10 to the 4th power. Please make sure you have this example or the last one in your notes. Alright, we'll do one more. Let's say we have 3.7 times 10 to the 4th, and then 9.1 times 10 to the 2nd. Okay, notice we have now some decimals. That's fine. Okay, you might need to use a calculator to multiply 3.7 times 9.1. Okay, you should get 33.67 when you do that. And then we're going to go ahead and do 10 to the 4th times 10 to the 2nd. Same base, we add 4 and 2 to get that 6. And then we're going to combine those two. 33.67 times 10 to the 6th is 33.67 times 10 to the 6th in scientific notation. I hope you said no. Okay, and we're going to move our decimal one place to the left. So when we move it to the left, what do we do with this exponent? We have to add 1. Okay, so we're going to have a 7. Okay, so that's it for multiplication with scientific notation. Make sure you have some notes written down.